Hello everyone. We are going to see today Bitbucket, which is one of the commonly used remote repository in the market, in along with GitLabs and GitHubs. I'm going to walk through how to use Bitbucket as a remote repository and have Git installed in my machine, and also use Visual Studio Code to do most of my development. So one of the good thing about Visual Studio Code, which is now one of the favorite open source IDE or by most of the developer, is that there's a lot of features that enables Visual Studio Code by use of plugins to install them and flex it to whatever a developer needs are. You're not constrained to one IDE where you're tied to whatever that IDE has to offer. Like Visual Studio Code is just a generic IDE, but there's a lot of plugins out there. Would you can make it like a .NET, Go, Python, Node, HTML, Java. I mean, whatever your Salesforce. I mean, whatever your platform is, it doesn't matter. You can tweak Visual Studio Code to accommodate to your needs. And we are going to see how Visual Studio Code could be used with Bitbucket along with all the plugins it has to offer, so that you can get the most utilization of Visual Studio Code. Let's get started with that. Before we dive deep into demoing what we are going to do, I want to show you like overall what the goal of this demo is about. So this is more like I'm going to walk you all guys through cloning, committing, creation of branches, pull and push request, and pull request using GUI, so that you can have a code review done, which is one of the coolest feature in the Bitbucket, where it lets you do a pull request and ask a reviewer to go through a code review process, and then once it is done, then go ahead and merge it. So generally people tend to use pull request to do merging from your future branch into your development branch. So if you go to enterprise solution, generally what they have in repository is that they create at least three branches. I mean, at least two branches. One is master, which is production. Another is the development tree, which would most of the development would happen in the development branch, but they don't allow the developer to directly check in into the development branch. They would ask each developer to create a future branch, then do a pull request, let the code review be done, and then take the code from the future branch and merge into the development branch. So the pull request is very critical in enterprise, so that you do the code review and make sure that the code is much better when it goes to production. So the pull request is like a prequel before you merge your future branch where your developers are working on into a development branch. Um, so the first step is to clone a repository. So in Visual Studio Code, if you want to clone a repository, you could always come here and there is an option for you to say clone repository, and then you need to give a URL. So in our case, we are going to have this URL. So this doesn't have anything. I'm going to just create a readme file so that we have something to clone to. So I'm going to commit this readme file. I created a simple repository with nothing in it. I just added a readme file. By default it just creates a dummy readme file. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to say clone so that I can get this HTTPS, and I'm going to get this URL so that I know what repository I'm cloning from. So let me copy that, and then I'm going to come to my Visual Studio Code and paste that. Press enter here, and it's going to ask you where you want to clone it. So let me clone it to my D drive. That's my location where I'm cloning it. So it is asking for me the password. I'm going to type in my password. um, so might have given a wrong password here. Go ahead and do that again. So I'm going to pick the D drive. I'm going to select the repository path, It's asking me the password. So it cloned my repository now. So I would like to open it in the same window. I don't want to open it in another window. So it has just a readme file with nothing much. So we just learned how to clone the repository. It's so easy. You just need to click on this, and just if you close this, it will let you clone it. So for example, if you just want to show you, if I close this folder, this Visual Studio Code doesn't have anything, so it can open our clone. So since already cloned, I'm just going to open into that path where I cloned this, and it should show me the readme file now. So um, that's how you would clone a project in Visual Studio Code. I have installed a lot of plugin. I've installed, like, what I would recommend you guys to do would be to go to this extension, and there is like a Bitbucket. If you search for Bitbucket here, you would probably find a lot of extensions that is interesting to you. I've installed some of them that I think it was useful, like this one, and the Bitbucket Jira one, and like Jira and Bitbucket official version of that. I've installed that. Go ahead and install that. And then I also install, like, there's a Git Essential package. So if you say Git, so I install Git Lens and Git Project Manager. Another better way would be to use this. This is what I wanted to show you. If you install this Git extension pack, it installs the Git history, project manager, Git lengths. So Git lens is installed. This is the project management, which if you have multiple project, you can manage the project through here. Git ignore plugin is installed if you want to ignore certain files. um, you could use git ignore to ignore certain files. So these are the options that you have on the table if you're thinking about installing the plugin. So I have all the plugins that I thought is essential is installed here. Go ahead and install, and you can click on each one and sign in and use good your username and password. Like you see in the bottom, I'm signed in Bitbucket. I'm in my master branch, because that's what we opened this folder here with with that project. So it's in the master branch. So you can do mostly anything you would like to do, even pull requests from here. So you would not need to go outside Visual Studio Code. That's the fun part here. Almost you can do everything that you want, just being in this IDE, and that's what I like about this. So let me go ahead and start creating some basic. So I'm going to create an index.html. I'm going to create an HTML tag here. I'm going to say h1. I'm going to create a head and a body, and I'm going to say h1 hello world. So if you have created this basic HTML now, it shows that it's untracked, because you're still working on it. And then you can do almost everything you want to do from here, right? Like, so it says that, so you can go here to the source control and say that I want to track. I mean, you can add this, and then it becomes tracked. Now it's tracked, and then commit it, or just type in your message and it'll commit for you. So my first check-in using VS Code. So I'm just checking in my first HTML code after I cloned using Visual Studio Code. And you can come here and do pull, push, sync. I prefer, I don't want to go over each one of these. It almost has everything that you want to do here. But I will go over some of the cool things I would think that would make your job done quickly. So now it's pushed, but it's still not in the remote repository, right? We just checked in the code into the Git. It's not in the remote repository. So all you have to do is, if you see at the bottom, it says that one up. That arrow means, like, if you can see it, it's one up. This arrow at the bottom means that you should be able to click on it and it should sync it up. So it's asking me a password. If I would have set it up the HHS, it would have not. So I'm typing in my password. It's prompting again. I'm gonna do that, and it should sync it up now. So if I go to the remote repository now and refresh this in my master branch, I should be able to see that there is the master branch having the index.html in push to the remote repository here. So we kind of cloned a repository. We kind of showed how to commit a code, and you can push and pull the code through this as I was showing you. You can push and pull the code and do whatever you want from here. So we went through push and pull, and next thing we will create a couple of branches, maybe the development branch, and we would end up in creating a future branch, and then we will see how to do a pull request and merge and some of those. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic here then. Next thing what we are going to do is to create few branches. Since we now know how to pull or push the code, how to clone, how to commit a code, the next other thing you would end up in doing is creating a branch. So generally I tend to use this git lens to do that. So we were in the source control here, which was a plugin, and now I'm going to use the git lens plugin. So you could go here and create a branch if you want. So what I'm going to do is like going to right click there and kind of see if there is a way to create a branch here. So I'm going to click on here and see how many branch I have. So it has two branches, so I can always go up here to this and try to see if I can create a branch out of this. So I'm going to say create a branch from the master branch. I'm going to make this a develop branch, and I'm going to say create a branch and switch to the development branch. Yes, I would like to do that. So it went ahead and created a development branch, and it checked out my code into the development branch. So but as a developer you would not be developing on the development branch either. So let's create another branch now. Let's create a branch called feature, and say like home page, whatever your feature is. So and then you want to create a future home branch, and just create a branch and switch to that branch. So now I am checked out in the future branch. So we have created now three branches, and we can go back to our this and just say publish branch. It's asking me the password. If I would have set it up in the SSH or at the global, I don't have to type in this password each time, but it pushed it. So let's make sure that when we go up to the cloud here, let's see what we have here. So it should have published the master and the future branch. The dev branch is not pushed because we didn't yet push it. So let's go here and go to our let's check out our thing into the development branch. So let's check out. It's you need to click on this small arrow that is pointing towards this. So I'm going to click on that to check that out. So now I'm in my development branch. So I know we didn't publish it, so I'm going to publish this branch, or you might be able to publish from here too, but I generally tend to use this to publish my branch. So I'm going to say publish branch. It's again asking me the password. So it went ahead and published the development branch. So if I go to my code and refresh mine, now I should see that it's now published now. So I should see the three branches that I have. So I'll go to my Visual Studio Code and make sure I'm checked out in my I'm checked out in my future branch, so that I will be working on the future branch. So we created three branches. We published those branches to the cloud by using the publish command here, and so we are ready to do the pull request. So Now we have three branches. Let's make a change in our branch. So let's go here and say we added some more code. Now let's say I added some more code saying new changes made by developer 1 in future home. So I just made some new changes to this code. So it shows modified, and we just go here and say new changes made by for future 1 or future home page. I'm committing that. So you need to stage it and then commit. I'm doing it all together. So it's coming. Do you want to do it? I say yes, and it's committed. And I'm going to sync it up. You can push it or sync it up. The sync is kind of push and pull together. So now if you see, it shows 0 and 1 at the bottom. The 1 means you need to push a local commit to this repository, remote repository. So I'm going to do that. It's going to prompt me the password. It's annoying, but you could fix it by setting it up through HTTPS as a SSH, which I can run another video how to set it up. For now we are going to just publish this. So now the future branch has more code than what a development branch has. Now we need to figure out how to merge this code from my future branch into my development branch. And as I said, you should go with the practice of creating a pull request, which is what we would be doing next. So we may need to be doing pull request to this. So I'm using now the next plugin that I have, which is like the Bitbucket plugin, which shows Atlassian issues. If you log in with Jira, it will show all the tickets in Jira that is assigned to you. And here at the bottom, it shows you all the pull requests that you can make or doing. So I'm going to create a pull request here quickly. Let me put in my password again. So I'm going to say I want to take my future branch and merge it with my development branch. Give my command that I would like to merge my code. So, and once the reviewer sees it, you can put the list of reviewers name. I'm not going to go through that workflow and kind of give the reviewer's name here. I mean, we assume that that would be done in real time. You would have a reviewer like your boss or someone who is reviewing the code, a release manager reviewing the code. So you would be putting someone here. So the fun part is that you did not have to go from your machine anywhere to another browser to create a pull request. You're sitting on your IDE and doing everything that you need. So now we just showed how to create a pull request right on Visual Studio Code. So you just create a pull request here. It's prompting me the password again, and it looks like it went ahead and did a pull request. So you can even approve. I mean, maybe I'm a developer manager. I can go ahead and approve here, or go ahead and merge it, uh, uh, into my development branch. But generally you need to approve or deny. I recommend, I mean, you can go to your Bitbucket here and see everything happening right here, right? Like you had a pull request, and you can go and approve here. But the the power of Visual Studio Code is awesome. You are just right in Visual Studio and doing everything that you need. So I'm just going to approve it from here. It could be another person who is approving it. It says who the approver is. I did have the permission, so went ahead and approved it. I could have added some comments, and I could have done a lot. So I'm just not going to do all those. And that's how you go ahead and approve. Like you can even give comments at the bottom. So you can check on the files. Like you can even check on the files what got changed here, like what to what. Like, so it's so powerful that you can almost do everything in Visual Studio Code. So yeah, so we kind of did that. And again, you can even merge the code from here. So if I click on this merge, it's going to try to merge my future branch into my development branch, right sitting in Visual Studio Code, like you didn't go anywhere. I just want to emphasize that. So if I say merge, if there is no conflicts, it's going to merge the code, and it's asking me how you want. I generally prefer the merge commit or fast forward. Let's go ahead with the merge commit, which is the default behavior. And I don't want to close the future branch because I want to show you for few other examples over here. I'm going to just merge, um, and the code is merged now. So if you let me do some refresh, I'm going to go to my editor and I'm going to see what happened. So the code is, so I'm still in my future branch. Oh, another thing I wanted to show you was that this one, you can just click on it and it shows all the branch you have. And it's so, this is all the remote branches, this is all your Git branches in your machine. And I just want to flip it now to the development because we just did a pull request and merged. It's not there yet because we didn't yet push it. So let me go to my future branch and make sure we are synced up. Let's do a pull request. And I'm also going to make sure that I go to my development branch and then sync up. Okay. So now you see the changes from the development coming over here. You didn't see it because your development branch was not synced up. So I mean, you didn't pull it. I mean, if you want to pull it, you can go and do and pull it here, all your changes. I just like this one button which does the pull and push. You're just syncing. I mean, in Visual Studio Code, you're just syncing. It could be a push or a pull depending on your situation. I mean, there is very rarely you would do both. I mean, it happens, but I mean, that's a cool feature. So now I'm in the development branch. My changes came over here. And if you go to the future branch, it's merged. So we went end to end, like everything in Visual Studio Code. I didn't even switch out of my Visual Studio Code for anything. So next thing I want to do is to show a conflict and just show how to do the same. So we will and I don't have to go anywhere from Visual Studio to just do that either. So I'm going to create another file called home.html. I'm in my future branch. I would prefer to be on my development branch. Okay, let me do this in a future branch. Doesn't matter now. So I'm going to say HTML. I'm going to say hello world just for fun. It's a new page with just hello.html. I'm just going to go ahead and that's something we just added into my future branch. So let me go and see if I have anything to commit. I'm gonna see refresh. It's kind of, I typed my password wrong. Yeah, so let me make sure I commit this. I'm gonna say added a new home page, right? I should have, again, I should have done this first in the development branch and just then do it in the future branch, but lack of time, I'm just going to do it in the future branch and also in the development branch and try to create a conflict now. So my future branch now has a home page. Let me check out with go to my development branch, go to my browser. I'm going to again add something called as home.html. I'm going to have this hello world on my home page too. I could have done it in the development branch and merged it with the, I could have done that way, but it's the same. I'm just making sure I'm simulating a data so that I can show you how to make a conflict here. Added a home page. You should not literally go to directly into a development branch and add like an HTML page. It should go from a future branch into the development branch, but I want to make it quick and dirty, so I went ahead and did this. And it's annoying that it's asking this password. Once you set up an SSH with a public and a private key, or even through HTTPS, it might work. So something I should be doing and demoing you how to do that. So now I have, like, on my both my development branch, if you see, I have an home.html with this, and if I go to my future branch, I do have the same home.html with this. So I'm in my future branch. I'm going to say it's not hello world, it's hello test. Okay, and then I'm going to make this change and say made a modification on future home. Okay, so in the future branch, right? So in the future branch, so I just messed up with my future branch, or made a change to that home.html in my future branch. So I'm going to sync it up. I'm going to type in my password again, and now I have my future branch having a file called hello test. Now let's do a pull request, right? We go to Atlassian. I'm going to say create a pull request. I'm going to type in my password to do a pull request. I want to merge my future branch with my development branch. I'm not going to comment anything yet, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. Or you can even go and create that in a browser, but I'm just loving what I'm doing here. You need to put an approver. Technically, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to approve my own pull request. So I created a pull request. Did you see the C there? So there is a conflict now. So if I click on this home page, it should show that there is a conflict between to both my system. It's not showing clearly what's happening, but it shows that there is a conflict. And so the best way to resolve a conflict, so it shows me that there is a conflict. So we should generally tend to resolve the conflict before you do a pull request, right? So I would not like to approve this yet. So I would like to you can add a reviewer from here. So I'm not going to approve it, right? I'm not going to go ahead and approve it and leave it here and let the developer fix this issue before we go ahead and approve it. So so the best way to resolve this would be to go ahead and merge whatever you have with whatever you have in your uh, development branch with the future branch before you do the pull request. So you need to have your future branch current, like you cannot be out of sync at this point. Your future branch has a code that you modified, so you need to fix it. It could be that you would overwrite what is in the development branch, or it's up to you. You could replace or have both the tag. As in our example, we would end up in having both the tag. So let's see how to do that, like how to merge two branches. So the next thing, as I said, what we are going to do is we are going to merge. Let me quickly write that in a notepad and show you, or maybe use the draw.io quickly if I can, to show you this. And we create a new one, blank one, and I'm going to say yes just for fun. So you are in a master branch, and then you have a development branch, and then you have, let's say here you have a develop branch, and then you have a future branch. So when you did a pull request just now, what we did was we were trying to do a pull request so that we can merge it into development branch, but then we got rejected because there was conflicts here. So the better practice, when you did a pull request from here, a good practice would be to, whenever you have troubles like this, a good practice would be to always get what is in the development branch first, um, into your um, into your future branch, so that you have all the latest code from here, and then do the pull request again, because you would get denied if there is a conflict. generally the approvals, the probability of someone approving with conflicts is less because you need to fix it in your future branch before even you consider pushing that conflicts to the development branch. So that's exactly where we were. Like we were doing a pull request, and we had conflicts. I think we kind of saw that. Um, we kind of saw the conflicts in our machine, that there was conflicts. It didn't show it clearly, but it showed that there was some conflicts here. So we need to resolve our conflicts before we do a pull request. So I'm in my future branch. You can see that I'm in my future branch, and then you can even create a new branch from here, just so that you know. But I'm in my future branch, and I would like now to merge it uh, with my development branch, right? That's what we want to do. We want to merge it with our development branch. So what I would do is that I would go to my development branch and try to right click it and say that merge branch into current. So the current branch is future branch. The branch we are trying to merge is development, so I'll click on that, and it's asking how do you want to do. There are different ways you can merge. You can go and read the git documentation on each one of these. I always pick the first one or the fast forward one, so I'm going to do that, and it's going to say that there was a conflict, so the merge did not go through. So it's saying that automatic merge failed and you need to resolve the conflict. So that we expected that was a whole intent, but we don't want to do it in the development branch. We wanted to fix it in the future branch and then push it to the development branch. One of the cool thing with Visual Studio Code again is that it says, do you want to accept the incoming change, or you want to accept the current change that you have, or you want both. I mean, this is cool. Like you can just go ahead and do some of these and compare what you want to do and decide on which direction you want to go with. So I'm going to say I want to accept both, and it took my both the hello world from my development branch and also the hello test from my future branch. So it had both of those now into my future branch. So I merged all the code now. It's good. I'm going to save that. I'm going to make sure I check that in. So I'm going to say I'm going to add that. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to say commit that. So my future branch is now merged with the development branch, like I was showing in my diagram, that I pull down all the changes in my future branch so that I can do the pull request again. So I didn't deny the pull request, so I'm going to just use it. That's why that's the reason I did not deny. So what I would do is that since I am done, I'm going to push my changes, what I have in my local git, into the remote repository. Now since I already pushed it, all I have to do now is to now go ahead and do the pull request again, or reuse that pull request again. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to open this pull request for me. So let's show open pull request. It's trying to pull that. There we go. Okay, so I have that. Now I think you can approve, because there should not be a conflict now. See, it shows M instead of C, because if we resolve the conflict in the future branch, we don't have to worry about this anymore, right? Like we resolved it in the lower level. Now if I try to merge this with my development branch, I can approve it. Technically there'll be another person approving it. I'm going to hypothetically make this up, and then I'm going to merge this so that I can now, I mean, I'm done with the example with the complex use case of having a conflict. So I'm going to close this branch. If you think that you don't need anymore that future branch, you just want to close that future branch because you're done with your work, to be much cleaner. So I'm just closing the future branch, merging the code into the dev, and it says that the code is merged. I'm going to refresh this, go to my code. I'm going to go back to my development branch and make sure that all my changes are there into my development branch. So let me I don't see that yet because I didn't yet pull it down. So let's go ahead and pull it down. So let me do a sync from here. It's going to ask my password again because the merge happened, yeah, in the remote repository, and this now it looks good. So we pulled down the changes that the merge happened, and we brought it down to our development brand. That's a full circle of using Visual Studio Code. And just being in Visual Studio Code, I did not go out of Visual Studio Code for anything. I was able to do everything that I need just sitting in the Visual Studio Code. And that's the awesomeness of Visual Studio Code. It just lets you install a lot of plugins, like the plugin that I installed for Atlassian, the Git Lens, and the source control plugin. I mean, if you just install the Git basic package, that should get, so if you go to the managed extensions and you're just looking up for Git, just try to install this Git extension package and then look at things that you like. I mean, each one has a unique taste, so you would like something that I may not, so just install whichever you like. But then I would also recommend you to go ahead and install this Atlassian thing, which is Bitbucket. If you search for Bitbucket, it should pop right on the top. So just go ahead and install that, because then you can do the code review and everything within Visual Studio Code. So that's all I had for today with Visual Studio Code, Bitbucket and Git. See you next time. Thank you.